only conclusion is your God.
Just relax.
I mean,
It's like a 10-year-old child just throwing nonsense into this.
Turn your consciousness away
This
from
is
things.
nonsense.
Yeah. Can you turn your consciousness away from him so he disappears?
Maybe you come from India, right?
Yeah.
So when you talk about something out of nothing and all these different things, right? Because the basis of this argument, right? We have to take therefore into account the teachings of Gautama Buddha. We have to take into account Sikhism.
No,
Secondary
I
questions.
didn't mention
You're right.
religion
Those
at
are
all.
secondary questions.
So
I didn't mention
Why-
religion at all.
no, you didn't mention definition,
But you mentioned it as if I mentioned it and I didn't. As a straw man.
Yeah.
Do you believe that
There
there is
we
an
are.
absolute truth?
The answer is yes, but it's malleable.
So there is no absolute truth.
No, I said the answer is yes. Why would you refer by saying so there is
When
none?
you
As
say
if that was my answer.
when you say
Well, I said my answer was yes. Why are you saying it's no?
So when you say malleable,
Yeah.
then the very different definition of that absolute truth, whatever it might be, could
Let me-
be
let me
different.
use
Could
the
be
analogy of the
different,
tree.
or it could be
I'll
something
use the
else.
analogy.
He's
Dave,
being soft now
Dude,
because
relax.
this is
What's the
Western
matter
country.
with you?
If it's your own country,
I mean, what rubbish?
chop your
Come
head
on,
off.
what rubbish? What
They'll-
Come on.
nonsense?
This is-
Okay, I
That's
agree
what
with
they
what you
will
said
do.
before. We
Islam had a
That's why I am
civilization
here in this
for over
country.
1,000 years.
Because you cannot
Okay.
be intellectual
Listen.
in his country.
Okay.
Which country
They will
is
chop
this?
your
Which
head
country is
off.
that? Which country is
They
that?
will chop your
Which
head.
country? What's my country?
Muslim country.
What's my country?
But now,
this is
No, what's my
Afghanistan.
country?
This
What's
is
my
my
country?
This is what you're
Mr.
saying.
Iranian,
It's
what's
not
my
about-
country?
It's not about countries.
When-
We're
what's
just
my
having a
country?
conversation about consciousness.
No.
Colonized mind.
Forget about
Okay.
that.
So, which country? Which country?
My country is my parents came from India, which is a Hindu country.
Are you Indian?
Yeah, I'm Indian.
Why don't you say that? Why are you ashamed of that?
Why am I ashamed of being Indian? I'm
No,
I'm
why
not
didn't
ashamed
you
at all.
say at the
Why am I
beginning that you are
ashamed?
Indian? Okay, well, lovely, very nice.
No, but I'm asking you.
I respect every nationality.
So you don't know what you're talking about.
No,
If you look at the works of David
My
White,
friend, you don't know what
relax
you're
a
talking
second.
about.
Just relax a second, because you accuse me and Muslims and Muslim countries of just chopping off
Hypocrite.
people's heads, right?
Hypocrite.
Just relax for a second and
Yes.
listen to me. You need to be taught something today. If you look at the works of Professor David Wasserstein, a Jew, a professor, he wrote,
My friend,
relax
don't
for a
talk this
second.
bullshit. This is
Oh, don't
bullshit.
give me evidence.
Come
Don't
on.
give me
He
history.
hasn't even
Let me
started
just
his
talk my
sentence. How
nonsense.
can
you bullshit?
Anyway, you know what? Let me just talk to you, David, because I don't want to waste any more time. The point, David, here is this. I think there's an inherent arrogance upon people who make assumptions
Upon people or of
upon
people?
religion or God or whatever, without even knowing the basics about what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And then they take a position which is more uncertain than the one that the person has of holding to religion.
I see it.
Because it's an illogical assumption to arrive at that somehow this universe, that all of existence somehow came into existence without the need of something bringing it into existence. That consciousness, the state of consciousness, can be brought into existence from something that is not conscious, that is dead matter. The atoms can simply rearrange themselves and create and solve this hard problem of consciousness. I believe it's an inherently arrogant position to take. It's a position of uncertainty. You have no certainty when you're talking about these realms. I would say to you that fundamentally what we should be talking about, how did everything get here? How did the universe get
You
here?
don't know.
What are the
Nobody
logical,
knows.
rational, I used logical and
Nobody
rational
knows.
so that you're out of the conversation. Logical and rational assumptions, deductive arguments that we can attribute, that we can use to come to a reasonable conclusion as to what those possibilities might be.
But Abbas, if you can't
You
agree
have
what
to
a
do
tree
that
is-
first.
If you can't agree what a tree is, how can you have a conversation?
This is the problem.
You have problems.
This is the problem. So I would say,
you know where you come from.
But I know that I don't
We
know about
don't know
the
where
tree.
we come
I don't know
from. We
about
don't know where we're going to.
If
We
you
live
don't
in
All I know
mysterious
is the
world.
name of something.
I
I know the
understand.
name.
I understand. If you don't know that this is a tree that we're talking about, then try.
So
not to
I
talk
would say,
about-
David.
My
I would
friend,
say,
I
David.
don't know where
But you see,
we
that
come
wasn't
from.
Everybody
the
one person.
That
wasn't
wasn't
the
my
answer to the
understanding.
question he gave.
Well, let David come back. Dave, let Dave come back.
What did you say?
Rather, let David come back. Give him a chance to speak, please. So, David, what I would just quickly say to you is that fundamentally what we need to talk about is all of reality, all of existence, all trees.
That's what
right?
he's trying to talk
We would have to first say, look, where did all of this come from?
We don't know.
Okay?
Nobody knows.
So if we don't know, we don't stop
Nobody knows.
thinking. What we should then apply is our rationality and say, well, how could this have come into existence? And I believe the only conclusion you can arrive at is that there has to be
Is your God.
a necessary existence.
It's your
A
God.
Dude, please.
Only
relax.
conclusion is your God.
Please, just relax.
I mean,
It's like a
come on.
10-year-old child
This is
just
what you're
a 10-year-old
saying.
child just throwing
Yeah.
nonsense
Can you
into
turn
the
your consciousness away
This
from
is
him?
nonsense.
yeah. Can you turn your consciousness away from him so he disappears?
Everything come from
That's
his God.
fantastic.
I can't. It's not working for me.
Yeah, it's not working for me either.
I've
Yeah.
been waiting 5 minutes to reply. Could everyone
Please, Dave.
pipe down a little bit? Go
So,
on.
so Dave,
It's easy to
I,
say probabilities.
I would say, we need to be looking at that. And this is what Allah says in the Quran. Do they not ponder? Do they not think? Allah says, did this universe give rise to itself? Are you the creators of yourself? It's a very deep philosophical question, right? Where did all existence come from?
We don't know.
So Allah says to you, but Allah tells you to use your brain.
yeah, but
Do you have a brain? Do you have a brain? Do you have a brain? Use it. And so I think when we apply that, we can only come to a conclusion, I believe, that there has to be a necessary existence that has always existed, from which all existences are explained.
Science has answer.
So please, David,
Science has answer.
Science has not answered what came before
Of
the Big
course,
Bang.
Big Bang.
No,
One of the
before
answer.
before the
One
Big
of the answer.
We're talking about before the Big Bang.
No, before Big Bang.
And we're not talking about your Big Bang that you have in the toilet
your
either.
world been created
Please,
in
Brother
6
David.
years. 6 years.
If I give you 20 more seconds, then you can be.
Six
can
days.
Can you be
for the
quiet
next
when he
2 minutes?
speaks, please?
Please, go ahead.
Thank you.
Finished. All right. So I think you mentioned that you have to make the assumption and reach a certain conclusion, right?
Yeah.
They were basically your words, paraphrasing.
Yeah.
So ultimately, that's what it comes down to, right? In the absence of certainty, you have to reach a certain conclusion. Those that others have suggested to you.
No?
Wait.
Yeah.
You have to reach a certain conclusion. You've applied a certain level of mathematics, you've applied a certain level of logic and everything else in between, right? But ultimately, you've defaulted to a greater body of knowledge than your own, referred to as Islam. May or may not be correct, we don't know. And he may not be correct, we don't know. The main thing is, we don't know. His question is born out of the state of not knowing, and yours is born out of the opposite to what you were talking about before,
But you strawman
which is
my
the
position.
certainty of arrogance and the arrogance
No.
of certainty. But you've just accused, for
No.
the first time, can I
Yeah.
only 10 more seconds?
Yeah, no problem.
Right? You've just then accused everyone except for yourself or anyone outside of Islam of being those guilty of the arrogance for the exploration.
No.
It's the most insane argument I've ever heard in my life. Go ahead.
You strawman my position. Because I never spoke about Islam.
No, but you defaulted to that understanding.
No, I never mentioned Islam.
Remember, you come from India, right?
Yeah.
So when you talk about something out of nothing and all these different things, right? Because the basis of this argument, right? We have to take, therefore, into account the teachings of Gautama Buddha. We have to take into account Sikhism.
No,
Secondary
I
questions.
didn't mention
You're right.
religion
Those
at
are
all.
secondary questions.
So,
I didn't mention
Why-
religion at all.
no, you didn't mention definition, but
But you mentioned it as if I mentioned it and I didn't. As a strawman.
yeah, I've made a pretty logical assumption because of the thing.
No,
behind
no,
there.
but David. But look, my argument wasn't that.
yes, of
My
course.
argument was,
Okay.
if we come to the conclusion that things are real, you do believe that things are real, right? Or is that a question
Come
as
on,
well?
unless you're just making fun of someone who's making a
I'm
very
just asking him
intelligent
a true
argument.
It's
I'm
not
asking him
clear.
a
If
real
you look
question.
at, no,
It's not clear.
I'm
what it is.
asking
Can you
him.
give me 20 seconds more? Because this
Go
is
ahead.
not fair that you speak to him like that. At the end of the day, what is fair is to say that his question is a 10,000-year-old question. It comes from your country. Because if you research the Vedanta, the Nyaya, the Vaisheshika, the Mimamsa, and all of those philosophies that underpins the brilliance of your country, you would understand that fundamentally his question is absolutely correct.
Okay, but you're assuming that those teachings that you've just quoted from India are somehow worthy of giving value to them in terms of what their opinions were about things. And I would say ultimately, first of all, you'd have to establish that there is any worth or value in taking those teachings and who were those teachings from. The point that I'm trying to make here is if we accept that there is a reality, that the universe exists, that we exist, it requires an explanation. I believe, and you can by all means disagree with me, but I would hope you will apply some method of induction or deduction or whatever you want to
There are
do.
many methods, far
Fine.
more than perhaps
That would
your
somehow
own.
nullify the need for something that has to always exist. Do you agree with that or disagree with that?
You say the last part of the question again, because it was a long sentence.
Does something by necessity have to always exist?
I think that as long as there are a majority of people perceiving that that thing exists, then I would default to the assumption that indeed it does exist. But it's still an assumption if we're talking
So-
from the point of view of
we're
absolution.
So, David, it's difficult to have a conversation like that because I asked you a very simple
Not
question.
Really. The answer I gave was fundamentally secure. It is yes. It's just that I gave a more
Yes.
fleshed out answer to the simple yes.
So, your answer is yes, something has to always exist.
Yeah, but my answer to yes is not 100% for all people. My answer was actually quite smart. It was yes if the majority of people concluded
Well,
so.
it isn't smart if you're saying that that could be true or might not be true. Then it's not a smart answer.
Unless I'm God, then I don't know, do I? So of course it's a smart answer.
answer is either I agree with that notion or I disagree with that notion. But if you say it could be either,
No.
Well, then,
You're talking about two different things. Just understand your own question. Number one, in the last 30 seconds alone, you've said, you've talked in the context of absolute truth, and you've talked in the context simultaneously of agreeing with something or not. These are two different things. You've just merged them into one. Which conversation do you want to have?
do you believe that there is an absolute truth?
I'm not knowing of it if there is.
Whether you know it or you don't know it is not what I
he
asked
doesn't
you.
know. He doesn't know.
I'm saying, is there an absolute truth?
How do any of us know?
Well, because
I want to believe there
We
is.
live in
Okay,
a
hold on,
changing
hold on,
world.
hold on.
No absolute
Hold on,
truth.
hold on.
It is changing.
An absolute truth
No absolute
means
truth.
a definition of something that could not be any other way.
I'll
It
give you
can
an
only
answer
be
with-
that way,
I
right?
understand your way of thinking.
Okay,
Now,
hold
let me
on.
answer you in your own way. The answer is yes, but it's malleable.
So there is no absolute truth. then.
No, I said the answer is yes. Why would you refer by saying so there is
When
none,
you
as
say
if that was my
when
answer?
you say
Well, I said
when
my
you
answer
say-
was yes. Why
so
are you saying
when
it's no?
So when you say malleable,
Yeah.
then the very definition of that absolute truth, whatever it might be, could be different. Could be different, or it could be something
I'll
else.
use the analogy of the tree. Let's make it simple for not for you, because I'm not putting you down, right? Nor anyone else.
I'm not putting you down either. No.
Good. So let's have an adult conversation. I'm
I
saying,
thought that's what we were having.
hopefully, it's increasingly so,
I hope so.
right? So I'll use the analogy of the tree, because we were talking about trees before, right? So, what was your name? David, right? Okay, same as me. Now, David was giving his argument, you're giving your own, I understand both. In that case, the tree itself is malleable, because it's still, by definition, a tree. So there's your constant of a yes. The answer to your question is yes. If you want an answer which is oversimplified and easy to understand and shareable as a distributed wave, okay, then the answer is yes. But if we dig a little bit beneath the surface, then the answer would be that, in fact, it is malleable in the way that David's saying. So do you want to have very simple, superficial talk show type arguments?
It's not about
Or
talk
do we
show.
want to actually go one level deeper here
Da-
today?
David,
That's the question.
The existence of something.
I referred to yes already. You don't have to.
The existence of whether it is there or it is not
The
there
answer was already given.
is
yes.
not reliant
No,
upon.
sorry. You're using your
It's
word.
not
you use
reliant-
The word, you're using the word existence for the tree.
Yes.
When in actual fact, it's existing, ing, because it's on the move.
Yes, it's on the move.
The tree is on the
That's
move.
everything
Like
is
everything.
on the move.
Everything is
Everything.
changing.
Even your
David,
ideology
when
is
I
on the
say
move.
the trees exists,
But you are not
when
on the
I
move.
say the
It's
tree,
existing.
hold on a second. When I say the tree exists, I mean at the moment of time when I'm observing that tree, I'm noting the fact that
But you're not observing.
But let
a
me just
tree.
finish. Let me
You're
just
only
finish.
seeing a part
David,
of
let me
a
just
tree.
Part of
finish.
it.
I'm simply making the assumption that it is actually there rather than it not being there. That's it. That's what I'm saying. The tree is there. That's what I'm saying. It exists. Now, if you say to me, yes, but
He want to
it
simplify
has
it.
moved
Simplify.
slightly from when you actually saw, yeah, okay,
But
fine, it
we
moved
do not
slightly.
live in a
But it
simplicity
doesn't
world.
change the fact that it's there.
We do not
That's
live in
the
a
point.
simple world.
No,
We do not live in a simple world.
Is that not a fair argument, guys? I mean, I don't know.
no, it'll be occupying
At this
less.
level of- at this
when
level
all
of
the leaves
consciousness,
are
it's a
gone,
very
it'll
fair
be
argument, yeah.
occupying
Okay,
less.
it's a very fair level of argument
When all
at
the-
this level of consciousness.
when all
but
the-
when you get to the higher level of consciousness, like David here, then it's malleable.
Oh no, don't put it
Then
on
it's all
me. He
because
was the one who was
valuable.
talking about the tree.
Come on,
My answer
David.
to your question was yes.
Come on.
If he's looking at you, then it's yes. If he's not looking
Look,
at
from our David, look, rather
That's
than
doesn't exist.
Exactly.
all these conversations are lovely,
So that
right?
part
But
is true.
David,
From my perspective,
Yeah, I understand.
because I'm the observer.
all these
But
conversations
if
are
I'm not
great.
observing, then
But
it
from
doesn't exist for
our
me, but it still exists
perspective,
for you.
But this is the problem.
Okay, look, from our perspective,
that's
Dave-
really the
David,
crux
from
of
our
it.
that, right?
Yeah.
from our perspective,
That's a
This
scientific
is why,
argument.
this
by
is
the way.
why
from
you
our
need
perspective, we believe that the universe
external
exists.
observer to the universe is
We
required.
believe that we exist.
From the external,
We
from that
believe
observer's
that we
universe.
exist because we observe it, we see it.
Existing.
From our
It is
first,
existing.
from our senses,
Existing.
we accept that we exist, right?
No, existing.
Existing, exist, whatever. We're here.
Everything in a move.
No,
We're
because
here.
it's on the move.
Fine, but we're here.
Except you.
That's-
You do not
We accept
move.
that we're here.
Fair enough, fair enough. It is an
We
intelligent.
accept that we're here.
It's not just parlance.
Sorry,
that is
I
a better way
tease
to
you,
describe
but-
So I accept that we're
But-
here.
but
Okay.
I must
So
make
all
you
we
think.
all we would say is that we would exhaust the possibilities of how we got here. For us, the most rational possibility is that there has to be a necessary existence that brings into existence all things. And we believe that this thing has to be extremely powerful. Energy, matter, etc., has to be able to create energy and matter and all of these things that we see. We see complex systems by which things operate, laws. So we see intelligence. We came into existence, according to our friend here who loves science, around
Of course I
13.7
do.
billion years ago. Some
Don't
people say
you love science?
after the Hubble, after the James Webb telescope, now they say maybe 30 or 40 or 50 billion years ago, whatever it might be. Let's say 100 billion years ago. But we believe that the universe seems to have come into existence from what we can see, from what we can observe, from what we can
what we
calculate.
can see and observe, just like
And
the tree.
science
calculate.
is not believing.
And calculate.
It's embracement.
So that requires an
It's
explanation.
acceptance. It's
And
evidence.
since it came into existence a
Otherwise,
certain
you have to reject empirical
period
data.
in history, it seems reasonable that whatever this necessary
Empirical data is
existence
observed
was,
as empirical.
brought it into existence at that
Reject it
time.
because it's not.
A time of its choosing.
Nobody knows.
to reject
Now
it.
we believe
You
that
don't have
this
answer
necessary
for this.
existence has communicated
Because
with
You
us,
do not have
and we
answer
have
to
the
this.
Quran, which we believe
Nobody
is
has.
objectively provable
Oh, come on.
to be from the
Come on.
Creator.
This is just nonsense.
And for us, that's certainty.
No,
No,
no.
but this is
You-
what I mean. This is where conversations
Belief
become
is a belief, my friend.
almost
That's all.
meaningless because every single word used is debated.
Yes.
And if you get to that state of
Language falls
conversation where existing, I mean, the energy required to say all those
Exactly.
things, it's semantic. But if you don't want to,
But
if-
that-
We live in a mysterious world, my
Then-
friend.
But science
but you're not a mystery.
Honestly.
You're very clear.
Honestly.
I can see.
We know it's a mystery to you.
No, to
Everything,
you,
your eyes are
everybody.
wide open. You
You
live
don't
in a
know.
mysterious
You
world.
don't know.
Yeah, we know it's a
Of
mystery
course
to
we
you.
do.
If-
We
if
live
you
in a
want to-
mysterious
Sorry,
world.
excuse me, guys. The subject is about the existence of God or not, or about Islam. Because I can't
No, so what we
understand
so what?
No,
so,
we started off with a tree. Actually, we're
so
talking
the
about
brother
tree.
asked
We're
me
talking
what,
about tree.
they asked me what did you see there?
It's not a tree.
I said it's a tree. He said no, it's not.
No, I said you're not never
You're
seen
not
a-
just-
You never
you've
really
never
seen a
seen
tree.
a
It's
a
tree.
treeing,
You will
isn't it?
never see a
Treeing.
tree. You can never see a tree. Right? All you ever see is a part of anything.
Yeah, part
You're
of
only
it.
I'm only seeing the part, the side of this man, a little.
You're
bit.
not seeing me.
And
Yeah,
even the tiny little, the part is only a
It's like a
skin
photograph.
deep.
Yeah,
Not
that's-
even.
Like a photograph.
Okay,
You
that's
take that
fine.
instant, that second. And then that's everything changed.
And it changes because his mood could change, and then the whole body
I cease
might
to
take a
exist from
different-
moment to moment.
What?
I cease to
At
exist.
the moment,
You
yes.
can't cease
So
to
there's an
exist
aspect,
in totality for everybody.
so-
you only ceasing to exist for him in
So
that
so
moment.
there's an aspect of what you've said.
But he would be an archetype of everyone else.
But what does archetype got to do with existing or not
no,
existing?
because if you're saying that for him, I cease to exist moment to moment, then him and him and him and him, this would apply to everybody.
No, not that you see.
Unless you're saying that
Not
he's,
that- not
he's
you-
unique from all other experiencing things, in that I do not cease to exist for them from moment to moment, then that would be interesting to see why he is unique.
No.
The phrase ceasing to exist
You have to be careful.
is steeped within the context of perception
Yeah.
as a fundamental truth. That is the fundamental truth.
And I don't discount that, but the reality is that what he's suggesting is that there is an ultimate observer, which is an explanation for the existence of the reality.
No,
that
we
we're
don't
in.
know about ultimate
1 second.
observer.
Hold on. There
So
is-
this
We
is-
do not know.
This is the position that he's coming to.
there is an observer inside here,
You-
right?
Inside where?
Inside every
Exactly.
person.
Yeah, inside you.
As an observer.
Inside yourself,
Yeah,
yes.
we observe.
Now,
Yes.
there is the conscious, there is the unconscious, right? The unconscious is keeping you alive. Without the unconscious movements, you'd be dead.
I don't understand
Your
the
breathing
point.
would go, your
I
blood
under-
pressure would
I
go, your
appreciate
blood,
that.
all
Yes,
that,
yes.
100 different
So
things.
what's the point of telling me about the unconscious?
What?
Because we live in a changing world.
Why are you telling me about the
Dude,
unconscious?
relax. Why you keep saying
There's a-
nonsense?
The unconscious.
Come on.
There's
I
a
love
split
you.
between.
You,
the type
you
of
might love
observer
me,
that you're
but
referring to when you say
I'm finding it
observer,
difficult to love
and
you,
the type of
brother.
observer
Yes.
that I
Yes,
understand.
yes. So what is it, the type of observer that you understand? What is that difference?
The best way I can describe it with my limited mind is to say that there is an observer of the observer, and the observer behind
right.
the observer is what you may call God. But when we're talking about the tree and all this stuff before, we were not fundamentally talking in that context. We were talking mostly in the context of the first observer, not the all-encompassing observer, which is God.
So I understand. So because the problem is, if we get bogged down in the semantics of aspects, etc., rather than observation, what happens is we can't have a meaningful conversation. So the point Abbas is making is there is an ultimate observer of the universe, which is, if you want to talk about.
But that's what I've just defined. So on that
fine.
we agree.
The ultimate
See,
we don't know.
Fine.
You're
Because
stuck
if
at this
it's
So
point.
he agrees.
We don't know the ultimate.
Let me just finish.
Yeah.
If I'm to speak somewhere in the direction of what my mind wants to believe as ultimate, right?
Yeah.
Then
You're not going to get it all. Yeah.
So, there's one,
Can I finish?
David, there's one thing very interesting what
Well,
you
I
just said.
didn't finish my
Please
sentence,
finish it
but
up.
okay.
Please
I'm
finish it. I'll
only
just
10
come.
seconds.
No.
You can remember what you want to say.
Please,
You're
go
not
ahead.
going to
Go
forget.
ahead. Go ahead.
So, if I'm speaking in that direction, and I'm for a moment using the word ultimate,
Yes.
in the same way that you're saying, if it's a tree, just say it's a tree. I'm doing the same with the word ultimate right now.
I understand.
Okay, you ready? Okay. Now, the conversation that we've had for the last 20 minutes has been simultaneously in two different contexts, sometimes overlapping. Mostly, not always, David and I were speaking in the context of a psychocultural observer. And what you've been referring to by default is what we can all call God, as the constant, the objective reality observed as a tree by God. So, in the context in which I believe you're speaking fundamentally, I agree with you fundamentally. But before, for the last 25 minutes, we have not been speaking in that context. We've been speaking in the context of the other observer. So if we understand the difference between the two, even just to facilitate our understanding towards one, then we will understand each other.
So the psychocultural observer is everyone else, everyone individually observing, as a collective or as an individual.
The psychocultural observer is the corpuscle of consciousness which I have aggregated and assumed as me.
So you are a part of the consciousness that's everywhere, but you're a corpuscle of it. So where is that consciousness? Is it all abounding, or is it something discrete?
We're speaking in the context of what I'm calling the psychocultural
Observer.
identity.
Because you're
and
a
observer, right?
corpuscle of that. You're a cell
Right.
of that.
From the day that I was conceived of, not just born, I've absorbed that every day of my life. So when I use the term
from where?
from family, from culture, from good experiences, from bad
Consciousness you
experiences,
absorb.
I don't define it in that way. So let me just define it my own way and then come in.
Sure.
So what I've done is I've absorbed, mostly through the context of assumption, what is right and wrong in life from the
Okay.
day of my conception, right? Because as when you're young, especially before the age of 7, you're like a sponge, right? So that identity and therefore the position through which I say I am now observing and talking about an observer was conceived of before that age. What he's talking about is steeped within a religious context, whatever that religion may be. It seems to me, forgive me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that you're speaking in a context which is derived from fundamentally religious understanding, whereby the orientation of the conversation is consistent with the other identity, the other observer, which you can readily call God or pure consciousness, not the consciousness which I absorbed for the whole of my life.
So this is the difference now. So the fact there's a consciousness that you've observed from
Absorbed, aggregated.
Right.
Yeah.
I onboarded
Okay.
that from others. It was not my
I
own.
understand.
That's called nature.
I understand. I understand.
So there's no biology involved there?
No.
Let the man finish first.
So, correcting my words is very interesting.
Sorry.
So the consciousness you absorbed, I say the word that you said, yes?
Because otherwise we get confused between observed and absorbed.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the only
yes.
reason I say.
It was just,
Otherwise I will not interrupt you.
I misspoke. Fine. So you've absorbed, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. As you were growing up, it applies to every individual here. So even
Yes, everyone.
he's absorbed, according to your
According
model
to
of
that
model,
thinking.
yeah. Okay.
He's absorbed the consciousness that led him to use his
This conclusion. Yeah.
conclusion. So is his conclusion any less valid than your conclusion?
No, I think it's more valid than my conclusion because he's speaking in a more
General.
in a more
Religious.
how would I say? No, if we remove the word religion for a second, he's attempting to speak within the context of something which is not poisoned by mind and experience. He's attempting to speak from the great observer that we can call God, and I think that's a great thing.
Yes. So I agree with you. Now the point here of,
But
of this,
how does he know God?
the
I'm
point,
not saying he knows it. I'm saying he's attempting to speak from that position.
But how can you have such a position?
He will explain.
Yeah,
We'll
he's
explain it to you
attempting to.
afterwards.
Let me give you-
We'll explain it
Yeah,
to you
but
afterwards.
Let me
That's
demonstrate.
We'll
Let me
explain it, yeah.
demonstrate. Let me
Then
demonstrate.
He's getting upset
Let
with you
me
now that you've
demonstrate
conceded
this.
God, because he's so anti-God. Anything with God, ah!
First of all,
eyes get big.
well, you've assumed that I've conceded God,
I'm just joking.
but
Look,
I have a
I
different
just want
definition.
to say one thing. Yeah, I know. I just want
He doesn't look like a guy who wants to chop head off.
No, in
David and David.
In
No, no.
India they can't
David and
because
David.
it's Hindu domination.
Yeah, they're chopping our
in
heads off.
India
there.
they can't.
That's right.
But in Pakistan they do. In
David,
Egypt they do.
David and David, right? David and David.
That's why he ran away.
Brother, David and David. There's
Yes,
one.
of course.
David, David.
Yeah,
There's one
that's
very
why I'm
interesting
here.
thing. So, from our perspective, the ultimate reality, is Allah.
But you don't know
But
that.
tell him what is apostate means.
Just wait a second.
First,
I'm
listening
giving
to the
you
guy.
from our
There's
perspective.
a difference
Why
between
you went even
believing
again
and
to the
seeing
religious
and knowing.
just wait.
How you know
Because otherwise
things.
I can't
How
just
do you
stop
know?
going
I
on.
let this guy speak. I let you speak. Even he interrupts. Let me just have a look. So from our, I
The
said to
only
you,
reason to interrupt is if you don't understand what the person said.
that's right.
Yeah,
From
but
our
once he started
perspective,
wrong,
from
We live in England right now. Don't interrupt. This is a
From
civilized
our
country.
perspective, the only reality, the ultimate reality, is Allah subhanahu
Who's
wa ta'ala.
are? Who's are?
Muslims,
Are you speaking for every Muslim?
pretty much. So
So they
yes.
all do the same
So I
thing?
was right. You're speaking
No,
from
that's
within that
all.
context.
he went back to
That is totally
he
impossible.
went back
Right, let
to
him finish.
his.
Let him finish. Go on,
Yeah.
go on, go on.
I'm just giving you. I'm just giving you something interesting.
We wasted our time here.
to take away.
not a
So,
waste of
so,
time,
so,
let
so,
him speak.
so from our understanding,
Yeah.
the ultimate truth, the ultimate reality is Allah. It's very interesting.
my friend,
it's very.
It's
Oh,
getting to
for
the
God's
don't
sake,
believe
for
in
the love
Allah.
of God.
Go
Be
to
silent for a
philosophy.
bit.
Wait, now let him have it.
Do you argue with your wife like this all the time as well?
Wrong.
I bet she's not with you anymore.
Thank
like
you
this.
very much.
Thank you.
Nice to know. Okay, your head is.
Thank you.
Shake hand.
Yeah, no problem. I shake your hand.
Cheers.
I'll wash it afterwards. I'm just joking.
Come on.
I'm just
He looks very
joking.
clean.
I'm just joking. Look, for us as Muslims, ultimate reality is Allah. It's interesting because you said what you observe, if you were to take a still, a moment later is another still. Like, things
No,
change.
I don't think he was saying that.
As
In the other identity, he may have said that,
We
but not
be-
in the one, not in the context.
What
you're
I'm
speaking
saying
right
is
now.
that we believe.
I don't want to put words in his mouth, but that's what I would say.
That's what I think Dave said. David said that what you see now
It's changing.
is changing.
Yeah.
It's like a movie. Like
It's in
the
flux.
frames are changing.
Yeah, because the you is the psycho-cultural aggregate reality
Let me
that you
just make my
absorb,
point.
not Allah.
David,
which
let me
needs
just make
explaining.
let me just
Which
make my
needs
point, David.
Go on.
From us, and this is what I heard Sheikh Abu Alia say as well. Every frame that changes, Allah is the one changing the frame. Nothing can change without the will of Allah, the power of Allah, the guidance of Allah, the guiding of Allah. Nothing can be sustained by itself. In other words, everything, all reality, and this is why Allah says when He destroys the universe, Allah says it will be vanish like a mirage.
Yes.
Very interesting. Allah uses this language So this reality, the very bubble of reality, is the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then when it's destroyed, Allah says it will vanish like a mirage. So as if it so the atoms that are held together,
We get the point.
yeah, if Allah willed to stop that from happening, then there's more space where there's nothing than there is me. There is more space within me with nothing in there than with atoms of electrons and protons and whatever they might be. And if Allah stopped that from holding together, there would be no me. I would just disappear as a mirage, nothingness to nothingness. So we believe this sort of concept as well. But our ultimate truth, in terms of ultimate reality, indeed is Allah. And all of what you say, to some extent, I would say to you, we would agree with you that we have a superficial understanding of what reality is, but it is nevertheless sufficient for us to be able to operate within a realm that allows us to be, obedient to the Creator, following His teachings, and then be given the ultimate reality, which is paradise, which is also a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
And in Christian terms, what that means is becoming holy. Whole. We're not whole, we're binary. Unfortunately, we're in a situation where it's either this or that. Binary type thinking, all the time. So what wholeness is, that's another question.
No, but the point, I think what it is, David, and this was one of the issues that we were saying, that, and to some extent I agree with David here, that we're sort of having two different conversations. Because you asked me, what is that? And I said to you, it is a tree. And then you said to me, no.
No, I didn't say. What did you see? Now you see.
You said, what is that?
No,
if I point to that, what is that?
What are you seeing?
I see a tree.
What are you seeing?
I see a tree.
That's
I see a tree.
Now the difference is that you say you're seeing a tree, and I'm saying you're seeing a side of a tree.
Well, and I agree, but no, I don't see all of the tree.
That's it.
So, but that's a given. I don't see inside the tree. I don't see underneath the tree. I don't see behind the tree.
Absolutely. So most of it is invisible, right? So in the same sense, everything you see suffers from the same problem.
I know, but it doesn't stop being a tree,
Now,
though.
because
Let him ask a question.
That's okay. I can't understand what's behind. If we can see only part of it. Yeah, but
it still exists.
you see, you have the phrase from Shakespeare which says,
And I don't think even seeing the thing means it doesn't exist. We don't see.
It doesn't cease to exist.
no.
Microorganisms. and it
So
still exists.
what Shakespeare said was, nothing is but what is not. Nothing is but what is
Is that
not.
what you thought you saw on the
Right?
page?
And that's one thing. And the other one comes from Socrates. He says, I don't know anything, and I don't even know if I know that. Right? So when we say I know that, that's a tree.
How do you know Socrates said that?
What?
How do you know Socrates said that?
But the same way you know that whoever said,
He doesn't know, isn't he? He doesn't know anything, that's the point.
How do you know that? Socrates existed.
you know.
But
Exactly.
This is what we're...
Come on, we're talking about somebody you don't even know existed. David!
Well, I think we can all agree that Socrates did exist.
Well, based upon,
The psychocultural consciousness.
wait, I'm asking you.
Well, it wasn't one person nor a small number of people that...
Testimony. Multiple testimony. Multiple attested
Can I-
testimony.
Can I finish?
Yeah, of course. I'm
We
just
have-
clarifying what you're saying.
We have a multimodal experience of the fact that the man existed by hundreds of thousands of people in multiple places over
Hundreds
a
of
period of time.
thousands of people. Okay, let's give you that.
Not just,
What are the
not just one
multi-modes?
context.
So multiple
What are the
testimonies
multi-modes?
then, yes? Multiple
Multiple.
What are the
attestable.
modes?
Multimodal,
Yeah.
meaning to say a visual mode, people saw that he exists, an audible mode, that people heard that he exists, they conversed with him. I'm just using the term
You
from
said we have. You're talking about as an individual or as a collective?
at that time as a collective,
Yeah,
really.
we're not talking about the Cosmary Socrates at the time he existed, because obviously the religious looked at him and said, I think I see Socrates. Maybe not
No,
all
he's
of
starting
it.
to sound like David.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about now, how does he know Socrates?
Yeah.
Now that's the question. It's a different question.
You don't. It's not. That isn't actually the point. The point is it true what he's saying? Nothing. I don't know anything, and I don't even know if I know that. We've already gone into the tree. I don't think you know anything about trees, and you will never know anything about a tree. Even if you pick up all the intellectual information, will not make a tree.
You know what it is, David? You don't lead your life like
And
that.
you know what? And let me tell you something else.
When you
the
put,
heart has its reasons, which
David,
reason knows not all.
David, when you put food on your plate, you know that just putting jam with lots of sugar will probably do you a lot of harm and probably will kill you. You don't live your life like that. You make sure you put vegetables on there. You make sure you put proteins on there. You make sure you take your medicine when the doctor gives you. You don't. No, please. Let me just finish.
I don't know what
David,
I'm doing.
let me just finish.
Do you know you're talking to him?
David, you don't go to like this man, posh guy here, goes to Waitrose,
he's
right?
making assumptions
Right?
about me.
Shops
I
at
don't know- I don't
Waitrose,
know
right?
that.
This posh gate here, right? Goes to Waitrose, right? You don't go and just pick up anything off the supermarket shelf. You make an informed decision because you know vegetables are good for me. Salad is good for
I
me.
don't know that.
High sugar
I
diets
don't
are
know
bad
that.
for me.
I don't know that.
Come on, David.
I don't know.
Please.
Is there anything that you
I
do know?
believe that. I believe that.
Are you
That's
having a
difference.
conversation with me?
I am having a conversation
Are you
with
sure,
you, and anyone
David?
else is interested in the ideas.
Are you sure?
I believe that. I don't.
I'm glad you do, David, because I'd be worried if you didn't.
All right. Okay.
David, pleasure.
Pleasure.
Are you
Good
actually a
talking.
Christian then, or what do you
Ah,
believe?
well, no, that you have to work out.
Well, I've been quite honest and told you that I'm a Muslim.
I know that.
So,
I know.
but you've been very
you
secretive.
revealed yourself.
You're very secretive.
You thought it was David.
Thank
wasn't
you
it?
very much.
Are you really David?
Careful of it.
You are, okay. David, you have a nice evening. Let's pack up, let's go.
All right.
David,
Cheers.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
So
you.
David, do you actually believe in a God or you don't believe in a God? Or
Yeah,
are
I
you,
believe in God.
You do believe in a God. And do you believe that underpinning the reality of everything is with that God? Do you
Yeah.
believe that? Do you conform to any particular religion, or are you pretty open about it?
I don't share that, but I'm more.
Just out of interest,
An
I mean.
atheist, so-
Well, I would consider myself
I know.
from a logical perspective much more of a Buddhist.
Okay,
But I have no problem to use the word Allah when we're defining what you're talking about.
okay.
As long as I don't only have to use that name when in other parts of the world it comes under a different name, because that would be stupid.
So under Buddhism, I didn't think that they had a concept of God. Do they?
No. Well,
Is that true? Or
Yeah, there's no deity.
this is the most fundamentally ridiculous thing about all religion and atheism, as a conclusion to this conversation. When the Buddhists say they don't believe in God, they do have something in its place,
okay,
in the form at least of pure consciousness, which you could readily call God.
okay.
And that really is semantics. And we're going
Okay.
to have an argument.
No, I'm just asking. I'm just asking that is that consciousness responsible for creating everything, sustaining everything? How what does that consciousness?
Much of it, apart from the creationism, in that context,
Okay,
they would agree with you on.
okay,
But when it comes to the creator in that sense, they don't agree with you.
okay,
But nevertheless, I do agree with you.
okay,
I think that there probably was a creator in that sense. And
okay,
the Buddhists probably just had a different way of defining it.
okay. So it'd be nice to have a conversation again. I mean, we on our you might want to come on one of our streams maybe. You don't have to show your face. You can be anonymous if you want to be. But it'd be nice to have maybe extend on that.
Unless you can see us.
Huh?
Unless you can see us, we won't be in existence on the street.
I think we've exhausted
Is
that.
it-
I just love that way of thinking.
Well, it was nice to speak to you anyway.
What do you want
Our
me to do
channel
with
is
the
called
trademark?
EFDawah, and we got information, a card. You're welcome. We normally for the non-Muslims we do a stream on Sunday, and it's next Sunday we're not going to be doing a stream, are we? But the following week we are. So in 2 weeks' time we're going to do a stream. So
That's
yeah, it'd be
great.
nice to speak to you again, David.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Nice to meet you. Bye. And stop being so posh and shopping at
I'll
Waitrose.
go to whatever the other one is next time.